An appeal of conscience of people, political leaders. It seems that political leaders around the world are sinking into a coma. They are unconscious. These political leaders are in a state of vegetative coma. Haitians risk their lives on the ocean in search of a better life because their country no guarantee anything good to them. The majority of Haitians want to leave the country because they cannot ensure the future of their children. In Santo Domingo, the Dominican people immersed in misery. In the country of Latin America, these people turn into cannibals. In the US, the vast majority of people live their life as the people who are living in the third world countries, with $7.25 per hour. In African countries, African politicians treat their brothers and sisters African as a slave. I do not ignore the cognitive processes that control the thought and action of human beings are, are very often unconscious. But those politicians put themselves in an unconscious state, in an induced coma, to deny the needs of their people, to neglect the reality of their country. It does not take to be a neuroscientist or neurologist to confirm that that the Haitian politicians are in a minimally conscious state. They are completely disconnected from the outside world. They are actually unconscious. They induce themselves in a coma in order to perceive the needs, to don't perceive the needs of the Haitian people. These politicians do not show a conscious perception. And if one measures the level of awareness of this politician, one can prove that there is no conscious perception in the brain of these people. They put themselves in an induced coma just to ignore the needs of the people. Millions of men and women in Haiti cannot meet the basic needs of their families. And the political leaders of the country are not sensitive to this problem because they are in an alcoholic coma. The Haitian government does nothing to advance Haitian towards development. Wait, there is nothing done in the country that can orient Haiti towards development. And the Haitian government chooses to accept the hypocrisy of the international corporation, which is a disaster for Haiti. It considers that the Haitians are low-level men who must be exploited. I avoid saying that the unconscious state of the Haitian government, which is induced coma, is terminal. But I prefer to say that the country is definitively down because of the somatic state of its government. What is worse, Haitian politicians ignore their unconsciousness, their coma. Sigmund Freud, physician, psychoanalyst, psychiatrist, stated basically no one believes in his own death and is unconscious. Everyone is convinced of its immorality. The fate of the country is left to chance. The country is like a ship that has no captain, no compass, so it is adrift. Ivan Rivard quoted, "Chance is an unconscious choice, happy or unhappy, depending on whether one accepts or rejects the event which is the germ." The Dominican government does not exert its influence in the world to deliver the Dominican people from their misery. Dominican President Mr. Danilo Medina knows that Santo Domingo is a poor country, but he closes his eyes. He gets himself in coma to do not fail the needs of his people. A president must take the misery of the people in his heart, but the Dominican politicians do contrarily. Dominican President Mr. Danilo Medina no considers the misery of his people and the intense anxiety that tears their bowels. The misery of the people is the happiness of the political leaders of this country. A president who understands, who is awake, do not suppose to endorse this charge if he knew he could not relieve the misery of his people. Poverty pushes people commit dishonest acts to kill others for no good reason. Victor Hugo said, when people are hungry, the people cold, poverty pushes them to commit crime or vice. The life of the people of Latin American countries is disastrous. Politicians in these countries do nothing to help their people out of this misery. Honduras is at the same level as Haiti, the poorest country in Latin America. However, there is a president there. But what's the role of this president? How someone can convince me that this president is not an induced coma? Latin American nations are torn because of the misery that is in full strength in these countries. In these countries, people sleep on the ground floor, on the floor made with cement, or people cram like sardines in a box, usually 15 to 20 people in a small room, without water, electricity, and even less hygienic. Illiteracy is more than 70% in the country. One does need to be a neuroscientist to discover that these politicians are induced into a coma. If someone has the common sense, he could say that these politicians do not live in the real world. These leaders have no mercy, even for the small children who carry along the day on their heads buckets and water containers. In Colombia, misery, poverty is visible in all aspects in the life of the people. In Cuba, please do not believe the Cuban who said that Cuba before Fidel Castro was better. No! This argument is untenable. On the government of Prior, the different president of Cuba, Batista, prostitution was rampant in Cuba. Young Cuban women sold their own skill to sell their own skin to survive. There is no difference between the Mariel Cuban and Haitian who cram into a boat to come to Miami. History is the judge. In Argentina, there is an improvement. I must say the truth. But the poor Argentines cannot see how they can go out of their poverty, misery. In such a situation, we can say that the country is sick by a social crisis. In African countries, a continent that is abundantly rich in natural resources, but the people of Africa are starving. Millions of Africans are dying because of the misery, seeming that they are at war with nature. And African political leaders are closing their eyes like a corpse that's lying in his coffin. Because of their coma, their unconsciousness, they cannot feel or have the sensitivity of the poverty of their people. A struggle to awaken these political leaders of their coma, it really seems difficult. It seems that their brain have already received permanent shocks. So, people have to fight themselves, pray to the Lord, to do what he had done for the people of Israel who was under the yoke of Pharaoh in Egypt. Thank you. May God bless all.